friends, welcome back to our show.
Welcome.
We have some exciting news for you guys today. Well, in the new Project Veritas, CNN was caught about using propaganda to swing the election. That's election fraud.
Obvious.
I don't know. They purposely muzzled Donald Trump. They purposely, said a bunch of crap to sway the audience, sway the voters, and but yeah, Project Veritas, love the guys. They do great work. The video was out. Haven't seen it on the news networks anywhere, but hey.
Of course, they don't care. They're not going to play those things.
And the recent riots that's been happening because of Dwight, the individual who was shot by the police officer, who I have to say she mishandled the whole situation, and he shouldn't have died. That's the bottom line.
Is that situation is that sexist situation?
No, it's still racist situation at this point because the guy had a warrant for his arrest for aggravated assault, active warrant I should say. He was on a $100,000 bond for holding a lady at gunpoint and demanding $820 from her. So she went to the authorities.
Just $820?
Well, yeah, that's how much he wanted. He basically went to his friend's house. He slept over. It was a party or something. I can't recall the exact thing. But the next morning he was about to leave. He held the lady at gunpoint, demanded money from her. She didn't obey. They left. She was screaming or whatever. They left. Then she went to the police. She filed a report. He was arrested for aggravated assault. Then he was out on a bond. He didn't show up to his bond hearing. And that's how you get a warrant, my friend. Not because of a traffic expired registration or an expired driver license. You do not get a warrant because you have an expired tag. You get a warrant because you have a misdemeanor or a felony, or you missed your, bond hearing. So, with that being said, first thing you need to do is hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and share this video with your friends. And please leave a comment down below so we could engage with you guys offline and hear your thoughts on these topics. And the police at this point, they don't have a good rep. And you have to realize why that's happening. The police officers, there's good and bad in all of them. Majority good. There's a few that are bad that make it worse than what they are. But you have to realize, as a police officer, you will get berated all day long. If you get pulled over for a speeding ticket, you're pissed off. You're pissed off at the officer. You're like, oh, but the other car was going 10 miles faster than I was. Why did I get pulled over? So you're already going to play the race card. You're already going to play the prejudice card. Why did you pull my car over versus the Ferrari or versus the Range Rover or blah, 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 blah. So you already have that thought going in your head. The whole point is, look, we all pay our registration fees. We all pay our insurance because that's part of the rules and regulation of the town you live in. Okay? So if you don't want to pay a registration for a car, don't buy a car. If you can't afford the registration, don't buy a car. Use the public service. There's buses. You could, you could do Uber. You could do Lyft. Buy a bicycle.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't justify some states charging crazy.
No, I understand. Look, it's
like
a
here
choice.
in Virginia, the car is considered a property, even though that you're losing values. You're paying
Same thing with California.
You're paying taxes on it every year.
No, but
a lot of the states they don't do that. You just
I
pay
know,
the taxes up front.
look,
That's it. As long as you have the car, even the plate, you don't have to change it in Texas. At least that was years ago.
Every state has a different rule for their Department of Motor Vehicle. Like if you're in California, they have the property tax and registration worked into one. So you pay your registration fee, and there's another fee. I forgot what it was called. So it's been a while since I've had my car registered there. But what I'm trying to say,
extortion fee.
yeah, probably extortion fee. But what I'm trying to say is, right now there's so many cases going on. The January 6th riots and the recent shooting.
Was there a riot on January 6th?
I mean, the insurrection. By the way, the DOJ is not charging the guy who shot the lady at the Capitol. Then he's not being charged. We don't even know who the guy is at this point. But regardless, we want to discuss how police are being treated and how police themselves are feeling at this point. The police are, whoever has been in a senior level, they're either quitting or they're taking early retirement. And the police force is forced to bring in new recruits, new blood into the force. And guess what's going to happen? There's going to be more chaos because these people are not properly trained. They just need bodies on the street. They just need bodies in the vehicles to do patrol or whatever. And all these problem neighborhoods, they're not going to get better.
By the way, is our audio on?
Yeah, audio's on.
Okay.
Why?
Because we recorded yesterday. We forgot to have the audio on.
Yesterday our conversation
So it was
was
a
a little bit more
passionate
heated.
conversation.
Yeah.
I just figured out, okay. There's
He
no
lost
audio.
his steam today. So,
No, I'm just being, letting you go before I start
but yeah, I
doing
mean,
a counterattack.
yeah. I mean, do you have a counterattack?
Well, I mean, we obviously share a lot of our views are similar or the same, but in this, when we had a discussion yesterday, I disagreed. But in this sense is, I personally, just given our background and coming from, very oppressive places, and especially when we grew up was very oppressive. The society has changed now a little bit. But I personally have zero trust in police. I have zero trust in justice system. I just don't. I just have zero. I assume the worst.
Oh, yeah.
If something happens, I assume the worst. Try to. That's why I'm absolute pro Second Amendment. Because even back home, growing up, you must. Nothing can infringe upon your right to protect yourself, your property, and your family, physically. Nothing. You shouldn't be able to force in a situation to wait for some third party out of the mercy of their soul to show up, which usually would be too late. So I would never kind of like give up that responsibility. It's your responsibility to look after yourself and your family, especially if you live in areas that is a higher crime rate and all that. And unfortunately, a lot of people, they have no choice but to live in those areas,
Yeah.
For that reason, I have zero trust. Now, why do I say that? Because, although everything that he said was correct, and that person may have had, rap sheet or just cause or whatever, but in this country, when you have serial killers, once they get caught, they go through a process. We get 28 states or so that they have death penalty. A lot of states, they don't do executions, or even if they have,
they haven't, but they have the death penalty, but they haven't executed.
They prolong it so long that the guy is going to die, before the execution. Now, saying that is, if somebody is like a serial killer, and we are going to that extent, that the state, the government, going to that extent to preserve that person's life, the worst kind of criminal, you can't tell me that is justified for somebody who maybe just didn't show up on his bail court date to be killed by police. Now, it could be a mistake, it could be wrong, tragedy, whatever, altercation. A lot of stuff is just the training. I'm just saying.
That's hard to argue, though,
okay,
man.
I allowed you to go on. Just give me a couple minutes to elaborate. The reason is because in many countries, advanced or less advanced countries, you always the issue is de-escalation, and they get a process for that, right? So now let's say I have an ID. The police knows exactly where you live. They got cameras. If you live in city, they get cameras all the way to everybody's crotch. They know exactly what you're doing, where you're living, where did you go, where you're coming from. All these things are, unless if it's a matter of danger, public safety, or something like that.
What about fake ID?
It doesn't matter. I mean, just because of that, you can't just go around and just have a heavy-handed policies toward the public.
No.
I mean, police is to serve the public. Police is not the executioner. You know what I'm saying? Serve and protect. Exactly. Right. So obviously they're not doing a good job with protecting, because obviously there's a lot of crime.
Look.
And they are not doing a lot of good, like serving, because you have a lot of bad incidents too. Now, me saying that is not, I'm not looking at it from the left's perspective. I'm just looking at it as actually a very libertarian perspective. Saying, for example, in this country, we had conversation yesterday, just the whole idea of arresting people just because you're going to take them or ask them to come to a police station to me is absolute lunacy. Most of the cases you don't have to do that. You don't have to handcuff people just because you're going to take somebody to a station, or you can ask them. In a lot of countries, they say, hey, I give you a date, come to the police station. If the person doesn't show up...
That's where a citation is.
Not the citation, no.
Citation is for you to show up to court.
It's not a citation. In a lot of countries, it's not a citation, it's not a fee or...
It's a warning, whatever it is.
It's notification.
Whatever you want to call it. It's a piece of paper that has a date on it.
Or even if somebody is like driving whatever, a lot of time they say, okay, come to the police station, we're just going to follow your car. You know what I'm saying? You de-escalate, you have distance. If a person is obviously super dangerous, that's a different case, and that would be justified. But a lot of this stuff that is like a tragic... And use of violence, use of police force, like a deadly force, a lot of it can be avoided.
It can be. So let me take over for a second.
And this, we talked about it.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Because I said as a veteran, yesterday I said, as a veteran, combat veteran, even me, I don't see myself. When you restrain people, automatically that's a trigger, natural trigger for people to not comply. Especially, most of us are big.
I disagree.
Just to have my hand, I can't even have my hands fully behind my back. So you are telling me they are being trained to, no matter what, moon or rain, you have to handcuff the person, right?
No, that doesn't happen all the time.
And then you are saying that person is resistant, and then you shoot them.
But that doesn't happen all the time.
I'm just saying it's a wrong policy, it's a wrong approach.
I don't think you and I are even qualified to discuss any of this process.
I mean, we've seen people are experiencing it. I'm telling you, if they come and arrest me, I might not be cooperating.
No.
I might not be cooperating.
Let me tell you something. We started this whole thing as a propaganda process, okay? And I'll explain it to you. The ones that are making the national media, okay, all the incidents that's making the national media, George Floyd, Dwight White or Wright, I can't remember his last name.
Of course they do. I mean, I agree with you on that. But I'm just saying that doesn't
George Floyd.
We can make
I get it. But look, when you have a warrant for your arrest, it says you have a warrant. You get pulled over, you have a warrant for your arrest. Let me ask you a question. If you had a warrant for your arrest and the cop pulls you over, are you going to run away or going to comply? Having a behavior...
I'm not saying that. All I'm saying...
No, it's a question. It's a question.
All I'm saying, it doesn't have to end up somebody dying.
I'm not saying it needs to end up.
I'm saying if a serial killer goes to the prison and they do everything to prolong that person staying alive
it's a state of mind.
Then why a person just for like a $20,000...
It has to do with the state of mind.
Bond has to get shot at.
I'm about to explain to you. The guy, it says in his arrest warrant, armed and dangerous. He was in jail in the first place for aggressive, for being armed. So
I'm not arguing that
no,
case.
but
I'm not talking about
that's
that
just
case.
one
I'm just
case.
saying
So
in general.
In general, so that's just one case. So you gotta realize when you go to a bad neighborhood, you don't expect people to walk around with flowers in their hand.
No, you're not expecting to sit down and talk about philosophy with some
Exactly. So when these police go into a high crime neighborhood, they are on high alert. They don't know who they're gonna encounter. Even for a simple traffic stop, for them, it's a high alert process because they don't know who the guy is driving. They don't know the guy driving the vehicle. It could not. It's not.
If I was a police officer, I wouldn't engage.
What are you gonna do? You just let him go?
I wouldn't engage. You just.
So what are you gonna do?
My own experience, like you say, oh, Canada this, Canada that, garbage, all this, like garbage. This, I would never want to live in Canada. I mean, just where we're living, not a step over the river, as far as going up north. It's just total garbage. It's just total lunacy. Not everywhere, but I'm just saying in general, the policies and stuff is just madness. So we went to a bar. We have friends, met childhood friends and stuff. Toronto, we went to a bar, right? So some fight broke off, and there was a guy, and a few guys were just beating him. I mean, just like really kicking him in the head and stuff. So I actually stopped it. Like I went in and stopped it. We almost get into the fight, and my friends, they came and had my back, right? Police came.
You know how
police came. No, I'm just saying, and it ended up the guy who was beaten was there with his girlfriend. He was American, like from New York or something, and the other ones were just thugs, just Canadians, whatever. I'm from Toronto. I'm not saying all Canadians, but I'm just saying they're from Canada. So the guy, and then he just thanked me and all that. Literally, he could have died. Like the way that they were beating him in that madness and all that, club being busy and all that. Police came. I testified outside. They had the camera, but they had the cover, so you can't even see. By law, they're supposed to have camera, but they had the shade, so the camera was useless. So I said, okay, these are the guys. I went and showed them. The police didn't even dare to go and arrest them. In Canada, we are talking about several years ago.
So what's your point?
All I'm saying, they just don't do it because they don't want to get engaged. Like they just don't do it. They don't care.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. If you are being arrested, don't resist arrest.
So the guy was bloody.
You don't need to resist arrest.
Probably his nose broken and whatever. All that stuff. Tourists, try to have a good time, whatever. All I'm saying when I say I don't trust the police, that's one of the things, right?
But it's the same thing like DC. It's like a DC police letting Antifa do whatever the hell they want.
Exactly.
Okay.
But I just don't understand why we have to support the police and this and that. No, I just support the good policing.
Right.
Right.
No, that's the whole point.
I don't have to support the
That's the whole point. What happened with Dwight was a tragic accident. It was a pure accident. The female police officer, she did not know her shit. Okay, she did not handle the situation correctly. She grabbed the wrong pistol. She grabbed her gun instead of the taser. Now, she's being charged with second degree manslaughter, which is an accidental discharge, basically. She quit the force. The chief of police was fired for saying she has to go through the due process. But the point is, look, if you're getting arrested, don't resist arrest. Because the more you resist arrest, the more aggressive the cops come.
Yeah, I just told you. They put if the arrest means, if the arrest is just they handcuff you up front, okay. Even that I can understand. You know what I'm saying? But you are talking about arresting with hands behind you. Majority of us, God bless America over here, big people, physically sometimes impossible to have.
Man,
almost dislocating somebody's shoulder, extremely painful. I've been in prison in Iran. I was tortured.
For what?
Okay. For disrespecting the supreme leader, whatever. Young, whatever.
I've been arrested by the cops for racing.
It's not a pleasant thing.
It's not, but that's the point. That's the point.
All I'm telling you that the whole idea.
What do you want, man? You want to bring a Kool-Aid?
if when you talk about arrest, to me it has to be absolutely serious, very life in that situation or very threatening situation.
I agree,
to do that arrest. For the rest of the cases, just somebody doesn't have driver's license, get out of the car, you're under arrest, and then struggle with the guy and stuff. For a person who might have been calm, might just snap. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, the policy. I don't blame the police. I'm saying the policy.
You have to realize the policy. Look,
no places in the world is like that. Oh, you just show up just because you didn't listen to the police, or you're going to be handcuffed from the back.
I'll give you a good example. A police officer pulls over a car with the expired tag. Goes up to the driver. Do you have a driver's license? No. Do you know your social? No. Runs the plate on the car, expired plates, no insurance. The guy is not cooperating. Should you let him go?
Let him go where?
Let him go. Just go.
No, I'm just saying.
What is he supposed to do? What is the officer supposed to do?
You don't have to do arrest.
What is he supposed to do with?
You don't have to do arrest.
Okay, so
he doesn't have license. He's not cooperating. Is he driving dangerously?
Yeah, that's why he got pulled over.
Where do you live? Okay,
I don't remember.
If he doesn't that, okay,
I don't remember.
Okay, that's fine. You want to arrest the person? Okay, please come to the station. Either we follow you or not even follow you. I'm just trying to be more realistic.
What?
Okay, come have a seat in the back. They are all covered and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
They're not gonna. The guy is
or
not. Or
handcuff from up front.
They can't handcuff from the front because that keeps them vulnerable.
You're talking about the whole world. We are like 7+ billion people. Dude, why this is only happening in this country?
No, it doesn't only happen in this country. That's what I'm trying to say.
All I'm telling you, other places,
it's not
very violent situation for them to use force like that.
No. Look,
just because you have an expired license and you are not answering the question, nobody's going to come and arrest.
And I told you, if you have an expired license,
okay, you have an expired license.
If you have an expired license and you have a valid driver license, you're not going to get arrested. You're not going to get arrested if you have a valid driver license. If I get pulled over with the expired tag, okay, which I have before, the officer comes up to me, he asks for my driver license, he asks for my insurance, he's like, hey, you got an expired tag. Oops, sorry, I forgot to pay my registration. He's going to run my name, he's going to run my plate to see if I have any active warrants. Throughout this whole process, I'm sitting in my car, I'm not moving, my window's down so he can clearly see me from my mirror. And he comes back to me, he's like, hey, here's your ticket. $50 fine for not having a registered vehicle. Goodbye. Then you have this other guy. Expired tag, no driver license. It's not cooperating. It's not providing information. Okay, it's not giving you he's not telling you who he is. He's not, because they could find you with your social security number. They're asking for your social number. So
if
nothing.
You're in that situation that you have a guy that is absolutely
a dick,
like that, whatever. But I said, even that, I said, whose car is this? Oh, it's my car. Okay, can you confirm that? If the guy is totally not responding, or you want, okay, please come with us to. What I'm saying.
What if the guy just runs away? What if
offer a solution? We have all this technology.
They
do. They get a fully covered back seat. Allow them to get in on their own.
But this is what I'm trying to
tell you.
Allow
them to get in their own. If they resist.
You need to watch the program Cops. Too bad it's off the air. But
it is a kind of like what I'm saying. It's like a hype situation. You're hyping the person
it is a tragedy.
Who is facing the police because they think that police is going to kill them with no reason.
No, man.
And the police is hyped up.
Listen,
because they think like people everybody's going to be reacting crazy to them. So it's like a hype situation. If I have a police behind me as a combat veteran, haven't had a single arrest record or nothing here in this country for 20+ years, right? I assume the worst. Why? Because I see what's going on.
I don't.
I see what.
I truly don't.
Okay, everybody just do a spot crime app or one of these apps on your phone so you can see what's going on
If
around.
you have nothing to worry about.
Situational.
No, man. The cop is not just going to come up to you with his weapon drawn.
No, all I'm saying is the policies that they have put in place for that person, right?
What person?
For the police.
Okay.
For them to easily arrest just for basic, for minor things. That all I'm saying, that arrest criteria has to be, for example, if
I disagree.
Okay, good question. So you asked me a question, I asked you a question. Let's say you're on a motorcycle. I have a friend who's speed crazy with the motorcycle in LA, out of all places, right?
By the way, it's illegal to chase motorcycles.
He said, exactly, right? So that person on a motorcycle going like 150 miles an hour on the highway. Okay?
They let him go. They don't chase him.
They don't let him. Why? Because it's dangerous. That person can get killed.
Yeah.
So if you care about the motorcycle guy, so you say, we know where he goes. We get the cameras, or we're gonna get him later.
99% of the time they can't catch him. But
no, they get cameras.
No, they don't.
If they want to, they
don't have cameras on their highways.
It's a matter of if they want to. You know what I'm saying?
They won't.
If they want to,
look. You know why it's illegal to chase a motorcycle these days, or in California? Because 15 years ago they made it illegal. 15 years ago it was legal for them to chase motorcycles on high-speed chases. They were just causing too many deaths.
So that's what I'm saying. So if you care about life,
but two different things.
All I'm saying, the arrest criteria has to be extremely high.
No, high speed chase has to be extremely high. High speed chase turns the person who's being pursued and the police officers into weapons. Both the police and the person being pursued are weapons at this point, because now they're gonna chase down the street. They're gonna hit any car. They're gonna hit people. The police officer's car can lose control, spin out of control. The police officers can get hurt. A lot of shit. Okay? But when it comes down to regular traffic stops, okay? What I don't understand is you have an active warrant. You do not have a driver license. You know your tags are expired. There is no... Why are you driving? Why are you behind that?
What you are saying is like everybody in this country has like a 3 PhDs, and you can sit down and reason with people. A lot of people, they do crazy stuff.
People have
I was doing crazy stuff when I was a teenager.
So that's the point.
Doesn't mean that you're going to get shot and get killed.
That's, but look, every action has a reaction, okay?
In the military, something is called collateral damage, right? Collateral damage.
You throw a bomb, 10 people die because of collateral damage.
If in Afghanistan you had this like a coalition forces, which is like a French, which is actually funny to just have a French and military in the same sentence, because of the history. It's just a U.S. joke. But so they get attacked. Their convoy get attacked by Taliban, right? By the Taliban fighters. So they're calling for airstrike. They're calling for airstrike and air support because they're taking fire from Taliban.
Okay.
So think about it. The Taliban has AK-47. The French soldiers, they get guns. They get their own guns and no testicles. So they're shooting at you with the guns. You shoot back with the guns. If they shoot you with the RPG, you shoot with... You don't call in the cavalry to drop bombs.
But look.
So they called in, and the general said, "Okay, you are taking small arm fire. You guys are trained, so you return fire with small arm fire. We are not going to come and just with a fighter jet drop bombs, or just a heavy force in a populated area just because you are taking or convoy. Just the thing was, even if you get shot at, you just push through." If you get stuck, then obviously you get engaged. If the situation gets more dangerous, then obviously, you ask for backup, they monitor and all that. All I'm saying is this stuff when you talk about de-escalation and collateral damage.
How are you going to de-escalate with Taliban?
Collateral damage means if a person, has some criminal rap sheet and stuff, we are talking about they're making every effort to prolong the life of a serial killer.
And you know why? Because when they catch the serial killer, that person could resist arrest, or he's gonna fight the police and they're gonna shoot him.
Yeah, but I'm talking the result.
The result. That's the result. If he gets arrested, he comes out peacefully without any resistance. They're gonna put cuffs on him. They're gonna put him in the back of a car, take him to the booking station, get him booked, get him processed. But if he resists arrest and he shows a weapon or he's a threat to the officer, do you think he's going to get shot?
So think about it. You're sitting over here as a combat veteran who's been exposed to a lot of explosions.
Combat veteran has nothing to do with this.
I'm talking about the stress. Why the reason I'm saying is because police officers
are on high stress.
They are not even that much trained. They go to range like once a quarter.
You don't know that.
3-4 times a year.
You don't know that.
If they do, I know. A lot of police officers say they have to pay with their own money to go to range. I have police officer friends.
Okay.
I respect them. I'm saying it's a job that I wouldn't be able to do because mentally I wouldn't be able to handle it. Okay? So I respect them in that sense. It's a tough job. They have been put in a bad situation. I'm not blaming the police. I'm saying those policies has to be changed, allowing the police to not engage in a serious matter with a deadly force unless if it's in a very, very serious situation.
Yes.
And do not create a situation.
Look,
all I just told you, the whole idea of arrest.
The current
arrest
thing,
itself
the current
is an
incident
escalation.
with,
a lot of people will
the current incident with Dwight, okay, seems to be an accidental discharge. It does not seem to be on purpose. She was not properly trained, or she could have been under so much stress that she did not know which weapon she grabbed.
Most likely. I mean,
okay,
it's a tough job.
Exactly. So
you don't want to put them in a more compromising situation.
It wasn't in that
escalated.
It did not escalate to until the guy resisted arrest and was trying to run away. Everything was fine. He was facing his car. His hand was
in this case, let's say I extend the olive branch. I said in this case, everything was done by the book. Everything is perfect.
It wasn't done by the book.
Everything was justified.
But
all I'm saying, when you say resisting arrest, a lot of time, I just told you, a lot of time, people are not resisting until when they are trying to arrest them. All I'm saying, those justification for arrest, especially at the traffic stops and stuff, is not justified to me. If I'm stopped at a traffic stop and they come and arrest me, it is very possible that I would react.
I give you credit. Yes,
you know
I
what
agree.
I'm saying?
I agree.
All I'm saying, this position of hand in the back at the traffic stop or just a minor interactions with the police is a bad policy.
I think
they don't need to escalate it to that. And police are human beings.
Yeah,
so they have their own views. They have their stress. Sometimes a few of them are cocky. Oh, I don't like you. They know that. They can arrest you for whatever reason and get away with it.
And look,
and they might be escalated. You would have some police officers that say, "Hey, I take it easy, rather. I'm just going to arrest the person."
Look, just like the officer who pulled over that army lieutenant in a car at a gas station, pepper sprayed him, arrested him, put handcuffs on him because his car's tags were taped to the window. That officer got fired. That was excessive force, and there's no doubt about it. And I didn't like it. I wasn't accepting. He was a military. He was an active, on-duty military guy in his uniform, and he got pepper sprayed, and the officer got fired for mishandling the situation.
Yeah,
totally agree. Like but the lieutenant cooperated. He did not resist. He was listening to the command. He was very respectful. He did not do anything out of order to trigger the officers. He played it correctly, and it's unfortunate that he had to go through that, but he played it very correctly. He did not give the officer any opportunity to react harshly, other than the fact that he got pepper sprayed.
So I'm saying these are the policy things that if it's
I said I agree. The fact is, you as an individual are being questioned by the officer, you don't know how that officer is going to react back. Okay? If you're going to be a dick, if you're going to be this, you're going to be that, guess what? The officer can be a dick too. And that can escalate very quickly. But if both sides, because most officers are not going to run up to you for a traffic stop, draw a gun and say, you're an asshole, you're this, that's, get the hell out of the car, blah, blah, blah. You know when I see that happening? When the guy's doing 120 miles an hour in a 65, that's manslaughter, okay? When you get pulled over at that speed, that's considered manslaughter. That officer is not going to be nice to you, period. That officer is going to run up to your car, open the door, drag you out of the car, and put you to the ground. That's exactly how it's going to happen. Because you are committing manslaughter. That is...
Yeah, even that is conditional. Okay.
But everything's conditional. Every process is conditional.
Let's say they have that law. Okay, if you're a certain speed, okay, where are you driving? Are you in a country road, middle of nowhere, or you're driving in the middle of Manhattan?
It doesn't matter. You and I have to follow the same laws so does everybody else.
Not necessarily. It's just that...
What do you mean?
Judges for the same crimes, they just do different sentences. The reason is because every situation is different.
Of course.
That's why they get what? They get the flexibility. For the same crime, somebody might get sentenced to 6 months.
Yeah, but we're talking about police interaction with the people. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the police interaction with people.
My thing is...
Police is not going to be nice to you if you're doing 120 miles an hour on a 75.
When it comes to deadly force, when it comes to the use of deadly force, when I was deployed to Iraq, right? So at that time, so think about it. Middle of war zone, training, let's say, Iraqi soldiers and going on patrols and all that. So the rules of engagement was, so think about it, we are transferring prisoners, all sort of stuff, security, convoys, protecting areas, protecting convoys. So the rules of engagement was, because in Iraq, a lot of people, they have firearms, right? Even middle of the night, you see somebody with AK-47 down the street, that doesn't justify you to even point your weapon at them. You can only fire when they are pointing the weapon at you.
It's the same here.
When they're pointing the weapon at you.
Yeah.
Pointing the weapon. It didn't say if the person has a knife in their hand, from 20 yards away, you pull out and start shooting at them.
No, of course not.
So if we are going that far in the rules of engagement in the military, middle of war zone, to not have collateral damage, why shouldn't we have similar restrictions and similar approach here in our country toward our citizens?
How about this? How about you and I schedule...
So for example, they said, oh, that guy had knife, trying to pull the knife, shoot him like 7 times in the back. Okay, you know what I'm saying? They shot police officers a few years back near us in a Costco, shot multiple times a 5-foot-tall Asian lady who had some mental issues. By the time the police get there, she was isolated. She had a bad day. 5-foot-tall Asian lady. So if I was a police officer and I shot that person and killed, that's to me, that's a murder, because even that lady with the knife wouldn't be able to do nothing to me. That means if you're a police officer, you should be trained, and physically they get now anti-thing gloves. You should be able to restrain that person 5 foot. You know what I'm saying? We are not talking about Shaquille O'Neal over here. 5 foot, and they shot her middle of Costco. And it was at the time she just didn't want to interact, or some verbal things happens. Obviously, if somebody is working at the Costco, giving like a tasting and stuff, that person is not living the best life. You know what I'm saying? They have issues, and she had 2 kids, right? Situations like that. So when it happens over and over and over, I don't necessarily blame the police for it. I'm not saying that person is bad or whatever. I'm saying the policies and the approach that allows that situation to foster, that has to change. That means that culture of policing has to change. Those rules of engagement has to change. in order for you see the improvement in the society as a whole.
Yeah.
And hopefully it would, I understand there are bad areas with high crime rate. I understand that. I wouldn't want to be a police officer do that. I have absolute sympathy. I support them, all that. All I'm saying, there's so many areas that we need to rethink, because there's no other place in the world that you have this kind of collateral damage and this kind of engagement. That's all. So I'm saying, if you care about the Iraqis, that could be a terrorist too. There's a middle of the night. Okay, what happens? People asking questions, right? Because a lot of people were itching to go over there and shoot something, shoot at things. I'm not saying the same people, but they try to justify. Okay, if somebody comes, you're not going to shoot at them if they have AK-47. He said, no, everybody have AK-47. This is a war zone. Everybody try to protect their families. So just because the person has AK-47 and has a long clothes, dishtasha, whatever they call it. Dishtasha, very good dishtasha. Walking down the street, you're not going to be shooting at the guy. If the guy is pointing the AK-47 at you, then you can shoot the guy.
Listen,
but if the guy is 50 yards away and has a knife, I'm going to say, have a good day.
Look, man, in Iraq, it's very custom for people during a wedding to shoot just bullets in the air. So, anyways, this is a complicated topic. What you just wanted to talk about. But this is our point of view coming from a country who has no rules.
You wouldn't think somebody with my background would come and just actually,
He turned liberal today.
No, it's not.
I'm kidding.
It's just a common sense. Actually, it's a very conservative situation. I'm trying to conserve life. You know what I'm saying? So I'm consistent with my position. I'm conservative.
Look, it's an unfortunate thing that what happens is that whenever life is lost, it's unfortunate, regardless of who it is. Doesn't matter. But with that, hit that like button, hit the share button, comment. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We will have some more episodes coming up soon. Please share, and thank you for watching, guys. We see you guys later.
Immigrant Corner. God bless America.